Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Good evening, Broncos country. Welcome to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. Victory Tuesday. I'm going to continue. It's Victory Tuesday, Victory Wednesday, Victory Thursday. Every day after a win is a victory day, and I love it. We got the badass crew of David and Spotty with me here tonight. David, how you doing, man?
Loving Victory Tuesday. Kev Dan, a win is a win is a win. We're on to week 2, and I am really, really excited to see what we've got in store for the Indianapolis Colts. For some reason, I thought Indianapolis was a team that had moved cities for a quick second, and I was like, wait, where are they now? No, still,
not recently.
Still in Indianapolis. No, it's been a while. But yeah, really, really excited. And excited to talk Broncos news as well today, because there was clearly some big-time Broncos news to talk about.
Yeah, there was something, and we'll get to that. Spotty, you're Spotty. You are Spotty.
So much to talk about, man. I'm super excited. I mean, like, a victory, a W, 1-0. Have we started the last couple of years at least 0-1? Okay, so starting off the season, hell, that's a win right off the bat. I can't even complain, right? At this point, the Broncos are on pace for 17-0. Okay, so until it doesn't happen, it's then we'll worry then.
For sure. I totally agree. What was it? 0-2 last year, 0-3 the year before that. So people want to say, where's the progression? Boom, it's right there in that number. 1-0, baby.
Isn't Sean Payton also historically terrible in September?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was a thing from the Saints days. So, look, you win football games in the NFL or you lose them. It's not college. Like, you're not getting ranked based on the quality of your win or whatever.
Are you sure, David?
Okay,
sure?
Look, yes, I'm sure. I
understand.
I understand NFL media analysts have to have something to do to get paid, but
yes.
when the playoffs, when your standings come out at the end of the season, it's all just wins and losses. It's just a number and a number. That's it.
What game was it last year? Wasn't there a game last year where people are like, "Oh, really the Broncos lost, even though it wasn't a loss, right?" Like I feel like that happens so much where they're like, I actually kind of rather be the other team. Would you though?
Would you?
It's still a situation where if you're starting 0-1, there's no moral victories. You don't come out of a game where you're like, you know what? If these 8 plays would have happened, we would have won the game. Okay, guys. So really, you
feel
guys
good.
won the game. You won the game, because if you would have done what you should have done, these 8 plays, you would have been 1-0.
Well, look, and I can just as easily point to 8 plays. What if Tyler Bidet catches that screen pass? I don't know it was earlier in the game.
Yeah.
And gets a first down or more in the high red zone. There's a ton of those what if play. What if Cortland Sutton jumps a little bit, or Bo Nix throws that ball a little bit more earlier? We can what if this all day. The scoreboard's the scoreboard's, friends.
Yeah. And look, it exposed them to things they need to work on, and for a group that barely got any time on the field during preseason, which is fine. Like, that makes sense, right? Keeping these guys healthy and everything. This was their first chance to go out there and put a full game together. And you saw there were things that clearly they need to work on. We talked about it last night, and I've seen some other people talk about it today. The subbing, the constant subbing of 3, 4, 5, 6 players almost every single play. And you saw the frustration with Bo Nix in that, right? So these are things that they're going to have to figure out and learn from. But, the positive here is we walked away, we put up 20 points on them, right? None of those were defensive points, right? I know I was banking on us getting a pick 6 or something to put us, at least get a field goal out of turnover or something, but that didn't happen. So these guys were able to win the game offensively, as bad as it looked, as much as we want to nitpick things. And I think a lot of the focus is also on Bo Nix, but man, going back and looking at some of those plays, the offensive line did not look amazing. There were players that were kind of getting through from time to time, getting pressure on Bo Nix that kind of looked like nobody picked them up or anything. So I'm not saying they looked bad, but I'm just saying like there are little things here or there that everyone needs to work on.
Yeah, it was just a rusty first week, Spotty.
Yeah.
I mean, I have things that I will talk about today that I am a little annoyed about, but I wanted it first to get out there that I'm excited about the win.
Okay.
And I got feelings about the sub packages too, and maybe unpopular opinions about that, but we'll see.
Okay, let's hear them. We're all for the unpopular opinions. Let's hear some of the soapboxes. Spotty, let's start with you, man. What stood out to you, man?
Well, one of the things that stood out to me, and again, this you guys know how I feel about Sean Payton at times, and
I love him. You're just absolutely in love with him.
His freaking play calling just grinds my gears at times. I'm sorry. When you know what you're really missing when you want to do play action passes and RPOs, running the football.
Oh yeah, that thing.
It's like it's this really weird thing that if the defense is at least pseudo paying attention to the run game, then play action passes happen, and then you can whip out these RPOs, and then the offense really gets going. But for some reason, Bo threw for, what was it, 36? Was it 40? Well, find me that number, and I felt like on first and second down for at least the first 3 or 4 series, we were trying to toss the football out there. And then what ends up happening is when you're trying to do bootlegs without a play action that the defense is not honoring, you have an edge who's not crashing down towards the running back, and instead he's running upfield to chase Bo around. And that didn't work out a couple of times, which led us to, I would say, an interception. We're lucky we didn't get a couple other. If they would have got those, maybe they would have won. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like Sean gets ahead of himself. You forget you brought in a running back. You brought in J.K. Dobbins. You used a second-round pick on R.J. Harvey, and you don't use him until the second half. Tyler Bidet was on the field most of the time, and it didn't look fantastic, but it was weird. Like, Harvey gets into the open. He runs an electric, like, 50 yards, and then all of a sudden we put away the rest of the game because the defense is on the field the whole time. It was weird. Once we started running the ball,
yeah,
that's my soapbox for that specific.
You know what? Well said, Spotty. So, I like it, Dave. What do you think, man?
Well, I'll go off something that Spotty said, which is that Sean Payton got a little ahead of himself, and it just, to me, it feels like there's definitely more of an emphasis this year on not I guess an emphasis so much as just there's more Sean Payton offense this year, and that's. To me, what I attribute the struggles with overall, that's where I attribute most of the struggles to. It's just that there's a lot more on everybody's plate this year. The offense is trying to be a little bit more of the full Sean Payton offense. Bo Nix has a lot more on his plate this year. And I saw a concerted effort, I feel like, by Bo Nix to throw instead of scramble. I really, I think the entire first half we were kind of like, where's the Bo Nix runs? I feel like every time that we saw him kind of scramble around in the pocket and have to move around and adjust to pressure, he tried to reset his feet and throw. And that's something I think that you see that he had a real emphasis on that in the offseason, trying to make plays with his arm instead of his legs. I think that'll come, guys, because I also think that's a lot of times where you saw the mistakes happen. When he tried to kind of make that second adjustment and reset and find that play and throw it down the field. And I think it'll come. It's just something that he's working on. He's trying to train his brain and his feet and his whole body to do a different thing than he was used to doing all of last year. And it's just going to be a process. I don't think I have any different thoughts about the offense than I did going into the game. It's just going to be a process for the foreseeable future. I don't think it's going to look the same level of disorganized that it looked in week 1 in week 5. And if it does, we'll have a problem then. But
sure.
I'm just, my expectations were not really changed by what I saw out of the offense on Sunday.
No, and I think for me, I wanted to see the offense do a little bit better. right? But in general, I expected it to be rough. I expected there to be problems and growing pains and confusion and mismanagement of some things. But they didn't fall apart. You know, they hung in there and they followed through with things. So look, a lot of people are talking about the offense, and we can definitely talk more about it a little on later if we want. But I want to make sure we save some time because not enough people are talking about the defense. Not enough people are talking about. Everyone's focused on Bo Nix, but this defense, man. I mean, I know they went out there and look, they allowed 134 yards in the first half, but -1, -2 net yards in the second half. And again, you can go back to, well, if one of those receivers had caught any one of those balls, okay, yeah, but they didn't. The Broncos defense still shut them down. So, guys, what were you seeing from the defense that really stood out to you other than just freaking domination from across the board?
I think, and Spotty, you tell me what you think about this point. I think the reason we're not hearing about it right now is just because it's as advertised. Like, I think the worst thing it could have done, is the best that it could have done. And the best that it could have done is live up to the offseason hype. Because everybody had the Broncos as their top defense or top 5 defense in the NFL, whatever. So now that they went out there and played like the defense they were supposed to, they're not going to get as much hype as if they had, collapsed, obviously. Pass rush was as advertised, even without Malcolm Roach and Trey Greenlaw. That run defense was good. Justin Stranad was perfectly fine at inside linebacker. Riley Moss looked more like his early year self than his late year self. What else do you want?
Yeah, expectation sucks, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to you guys in a message, right? When you're a little more anxious about the game when you have expectation, but luckily for us, that expectation for the defense is for it to be elite, and they did that. Nick Bonitto was credited with 9 pressures, which is the most in his career. I mean, this is the exact reason why you shell out the cash that you shelled out for Nick Bonitto. You get 9 pressures, and I'm about it. Sign me up, Jonah Ellis. We got in a stack with Jonah. And that's the guy who's coming off the bench. Jonathan Cooper's got in there. I'm excited to see these guys where we expect them to do. And this isn't even a healthy defense. We're talking about Malcolm Roach and Greenlaw, like you said.
Yeah. I feel like the strip sack on that last drive, Jaquan McMillan stopped on his, he hesitates on the way to Cam Ward because he's like, what? How is it this easy? What assignment am I missing because it's this? What am I doing wrong because it's this easy? No, just make the tackle. It's fine.
Yeah, it was almost like a WWE tackle too. It wasn't like your normal kind of move on here. And then Talanoa Hufanga got in there and as well to get it to a fumble recovery. It's like every single piece that we brought in, every single person that we expect, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Pat Surtain. There was 0 catches whenever Pat Surtain was the closest defender. That's what Pat's supposed to do. And then someone, Calvin Ridley, who everybody expects to end up probably being, a 1,000-yard receiver if he doesn't start the way he does right now. He's got 27 yards on the season. So, what else to say? I think I went over everybody's stat for that particular game, and Hufanga is the one who led the team in tackles. Right.
I was gonna make sure we brought him up.
So, I love that. Hey, whatever. Let's not talk about the defense, even though the Broncos are now the #1 defense, not just by speculation, but by numbers in the NFL. They did not allow a touchdown, and when they weren't constantly on the field, they shut down Cam Ward. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's going to talk about the drops. I feel like that's what really everybody talked about it too. But also, no one also talked about the man threw a nuke in those 2 freaking plays at near the end where, they dropped it, but it's really hard to catch the ball when it's coming at you 100 miles an hour. So good on the Broncos. I really hope my Nick Bonitto jersey gets in here sooner rather than later so Dez doesn't think I copied her when it came to
right.
Your favorite fan or your favorite player. Oh, yeah. Are you going to call him, what was it, Nick Bonitto?
Yeah,
Bonitto?
It doesn't sound as good when I say that. So I'm
Des can pull it off.
I think I'm
something I can do.
Bonito. Okay, I think I'll stick with that.
I feel like after this year, that contract is going to look like such a bargain immediately.
You mean like every other player, Pat Surtain on the Broncos?
Right. Like he had a 43% pass rush win rate, I think.
Yeah.
Just absurd.
And
just
he was the one who got Tony Pollard. I think the first run play in the game, it was right there. Benito who ran in the backfield and stopped him for like a 3 or 4 yard loss. And I'm like, shoot, that's how he's going to play the rest of the game. We are A-okay.
Rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then talking about just high performers. Look, Brad, I know you like Jerry Jeudy, but that's okay. Nobody's perfect. You recognize excellence where it is, and that's in Pat Surtain, man. This guy, again, he has gold shield on his jersey for a reason, and he's starting off the straw. Yeah, it's great. I freaking love it.
We'll see.
So great stuff. I mean, I think he's on his way already to getting a repeat defensive player of the year. Yeah. So we'll see about that. Okay. Let's see. Last kind of thoughts from this last week's game before we go to today's breaking news, guys. Anything else you want to cover? Special teams, we haven't talked about them, but little mistakes. Crawdaddy. Yep.
Right. Well, how did that? Like, let's see what we get in Indianapolis. But every so often you just get really lucky, and this thing that looked like a terrible problem in the preseason is just fine in the regular season. And so I guess Crawshaw's won. He's Crawdaddy for another week.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you want to really ask for a guy, right? You're like, okay, he punts one high up in the air. Is it within the 20? No return. Like there's a couple of those. I'm actually even surprised as a returner even tried to take the ball. But hey, that's all we can really ask for. As long as he's not shanking it and he's giving us good field position, then we're okay. And then Will Lutz was fine too.
He sure was. Big nuts Lutz. I love it. Yes. So guys, we are on the push for 24,000 followers. We are close. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and add to this that I will go ahead and pluck my eyebrow if we get to 24,000 followers tonight by the end of the show. So that's about 600 or so away. But I'm sure if you guys put your mind to it, anything can happen. So hit share. If we get 600 or so fans tonight, sure, I'll pluck my eyebrows out at the end of the show. And then hello from Michael here. Good to see you as well. Defense was awesome. We thought they, as we thought they would be. Money well spent. And look, the evaluation of these players, the way they're being coached, it's all just phenomenal to see, guys. So,
and I do want to bring up, and William, brings back this point about switching around, and we'll talk. I want to expand this into the point of switching personnel a little bit more generally. As Sean Payton, that's just a thing Sean Payton loves to do. And opposing defensive coordinators have talked about how that's a really, really difficult thing to defend when Sean Payton does it, because when you're the defense, you have to match a different personnel group. And if the Broncos are able to run different things out of different personnel groups, it makes the offense all the more lethal. And, I think that I alluded to it a little bit earlier. That's what Sean Payton really wants to do. He wants to keep defenses guessing. So it might just be that kind of rough for the offense early going in the season, because they're still trying to learn it all. They're still trying to learn, all right, well, this is what we can do out of this package when these players are on the field. And this is the kind of thing that we're trying to do to disguise against this defense and this, and this, and the other thing. And it's hard. It's one of the reasons we all talk about the Sean Payton offense being really hard to learn. This is why. So it might just be a little bit rough, but I really feel like when Coach Payton trusts Bo Nix to be the guy to go out and command this offense and do these kinds of things, I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt, even if the early part of the season is a little bit rough.
Yeah, agreed. So look, for week one, learning pains, growing pains. Overall, the defense showed that they can hold up their end of the bargain, and it's up to offense. And I think, look, the pressure isn't so much on the offense anymore. Yes, they need to improve, but if the defense goes and does their job, if you hold teams to 12, 15, 17 or so points, you should be able to win even with an average offense, right? So big thing is go out there, don't turn over the ball. And if that's one of the big things they can clean up this week, that alone is don't turn over the ball.
Yeah,
dude, this is a game that, and we're going to get to it here in a little bit, that is very winnable for the Broncos. Not going to say it's easy, but it's something we can definitely do. I think the Colts are very hyped up on themselves right now after beating the Dolphins, guys. The Dolphins. Ooh. So I don't know. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the breaking news that came out today.
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Did you hear about Evan Ingram today?
No,
I didn't see anything.
no. I feel like we'll just
good,
have to
right?
wait. What's that?
That's good, right? No news is good news when it comes to Evan Ingram right now.
I guess
Might
a couple of weeks ago, right before the season started, and like right when the Dre Greenlaw stuff started, Sean Payton just said, like, I'm not going to give you guys updates anymore. We'll give you the injury report, and that's it. So I feel like we're just not going to know until the practice report comes out tomorrow. I hope it's good. I hope it's, certainly you would think, Spotty, like if it was really bad, we'd be hearing like leaks about how bad it is.
Yeah, I mean, they ruled out George Kittle already this week, right?
Yeah.
And he was somebody who also was suffering from a calf, or he might have been hamstring. But still, like if it's like serious, we probably would have, said something or thrown him on IR already.
Right.
Well, in other injury good news, it sounds like Greenlaw might come back sooner than expected. So I don't know if they haven't ruled him out for week 2. I don't know if we need him, but I know we talked about this in the chat, guys. So is this this is a conversation of, do we get him some playing time and experience, or do we just keep him off for another week, keep him healthy, and save him for week 3?
Chargers is week 3, and the way that they looked on last week on Thursday night, I feel like I want him on the field, make sure he's on the field and healthy against the Chargers, opposed to the Colts, where like I get that they dropped 33 and they scored on 7 straight possessions for the first time in NFL history or whatever it happened, but we're not the same kind of dumpster fire that Miami is.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Okay, guys, any other thoughts before we move on? Because today, Broncos did make an announcement from their ownership group, something that we've been waiting for and kind of speculating about for a while now, with all signs pointing to this. So it's not really a surprise decision, but Broncos ownership came out today and said that the preferred location, it's not an official, but the preferred location for the future Broncos Stadium is Burnham Yard. Is that how you say it?
Burnham Yard.
And we've heard this from the time that we got reports of the Broncos ownership group buying up a whole bunch of land out there, a steel working plant or whatever, moving off there. That's been out there for like 30, 35 years, right? All those things like this looks like it's going to happen. So to me, I think the bigger part of this announcement was, while they're not ready to officially say whether they will or not, they did want to let the public know that this is going to be privately funded by them. So they are not going to be looking to, ask for taxpayer money, anything like that when it comes to the building of this new stadium with a retractable roof. So I think we were all kind of wondering, is it going to be a permanently closed roof, or are they going to do retractable? And I think that just opens up, look, they have the money to spare. Why not just, put a little bit more into it and make it a retractable roof for the occasions that you want that open, right? But guys, big announcement today. I think all signs point to it's just a matter of time before this is an official announcement. And in the 2031 season, we're going to be going to a new mile high. So what do you think, guys?
I love it. Personally, I love it. And mostly because as we know in the NFL, how many new stadiums have been built over, it feels like, the last 10 years, right? So if you've seen Atlanta's, we've seen SoFi, this is
Vikings.
The Vikings. I'm trying to go to that game in a couple of weeks. Like, so this is like the wave. This is the way the future is going. And the Penner Group was putting a lot of money into the Mile High since they bought it over the last 3 years. Not just the field, like the giant jumbotron and all these different things. We've been ranked as one of the worst stadiums over the last couple of years. Now, mind you, that's coming from a bunch of outside noise, so it may not mean a whole lot, but I like it. I was reading a couple of comments of people out there that were like, no, like the retractable roof, we want snow games and all this, but I don't think we had a snow game the last year, or maybe even the year before.
Or the year before. It's been a while since we've had a snow game.
Like, the weather's shifted a little bit for us, and I love the fact, outside of the Broncos and the fact that we can prepare a beautiful stadium and a beautiful show. I also like for the fact when it comes to as a Denver resident, I love it for the Denver economy, right? Like, we didn't move that stadium to Aurora Lone Tree. That was absolutely what we could have done. I shot a message out earlier today. I'm annoyed by these teams that call themselves, you know, the San Francisco 49ers, but they're sitting in Santa Clara, right? Like, how are you going to claim the name of the city that you left and that economy and those people where they have to travel far to go there? And the Broncos are like, we're sitting catty corner right here. Cool. We're going to move the stadium here. It moves it closer. We all know it really moves them a little closer to Ball Arena, and that whole family's going to buy up that area. These restaurants, I mean, it's right next to the Buckhorn Exchange. These restaurants are going to really thrive with the stadium being there. So I'm a big fan of it, and I'm also a big fan of not sitting in stands when there is snow outside. So
you're not gonna have to do so. Just a few more years, and that's not gonna be something we have to deal with out here for sure. David, buddy, what you think?
I am really impressed that it's going to be private investment. I'm also, I'm simultaneously a little embarrassed that we're just at a place where we now have to thank billionaires for paying their own bills, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Yeah.
That's
right. So yeah, it's going to be a huge project. It's going to be like the plans are super ambitious. I'm super excited to see it. I'm super excited that I'm moving out of downtown before the construction starts, but I'm equally bummed out that I'm moving out of downtown before the stadium's open. Because, like, man, where it's supposed to be is about halfway between where I live right now and where the stadium now is. So
it's it
would be in walking distance for me. It would be an incredible experience.
Stumbling distance,
right? Exactly. Now, as far as the retractable roof goes, guys, the ownership group is farsighted. They want to host Super Bowls. They want to host NFL drafts. They want these kind of events, Final Fours. Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to have state-of-the-art facilities to get that. At least with that, I can say I don't think they're going to do it cheap. I don't think they're going to do it like they're going to say, oh, it's a private investment, and then skimp out and make a real crummy stadium. Even some of these newer stadiums have been of middling quality when you actually get there. I've heard the New Jersey stadium, the Meadowlands, whatever, is actually kind of crappy when you get in there. That's not going to be the case with the new Mile High, whatever they decide to call it. I think they're going to do the investment right. They're going to do right by the fans. They're going to do right by the city of Denver. It's really, really exciting to see where they've settled on that area.
Yeah. No, it's everything that they've done, I think, is just pointing towards they understand the culture. They understand Broncos country. They understand the lay of the land, right? They're trying to do things right by the fan base and by the community. And I can respect that, right? They could very well say, well, moving it out to Lone Tree would be more lucrative for us or whatever, or Aurora, Commerce City, more land for them to buy up and build up, right? So at the end of the day, I think they're really trying to listen to the fan base and do something that, one, is going to be a moneymaker and put us in a better position and put the stadium in a better position, but just making sure that, they're not doing something that's going to cause Broncos fans to go against them, right? Because I think the mindset here is we're all on the same team. We want to win more than anything as well, and we understand what the expectation is of Broncos fans. So just another data point there to really make me feel that, man, we got lucky, because I just go back flashbacks when we were looking for the new owners and going, this could end up being incredibly bad for this team if this goes the wrong direction. And that does not seem to be the case. So tip of the hat to the ownership group. Can't say, I'm going to agree with everything you do, but so far, man, it's not Jerry. It's the opposite of Jerry Jones. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They've just done an incredible job of doing what they said they were going to do. They're embracing the community. They're embracing the Denver market. And I don't know. I don't really believe billionaires when they tell me that they're going to do certain things. Kind of like how David said, like, you know, we're super happy that a billionaire decided to pay for his own stadium for one time, which seems kind of crazy for us. So it's just awesome to see this. They've invested a lot of money already into the team when it comes to basically a new field halfway through the season over the last couple of years, and the fact that they're going to turn around and probably make something state of the art built by Walmart. Like it's going to be dope. And the other last thing I just want to touch on when it comes to it, I see a lot of people who think that the price of the stadium and the tickets and all that are going to go up. I don't really think that's true. Even if you look at Atlanta has the cheapest concessions in all of sports right now. And that stadium was built a couple years ago. I would just say, let us, see how things are going to play out. They're probably going to add seats, and it's going to allow them to sell more tickets. And they know for
keep prices down then hopefully too.
Yeah. Well, for a team that sold out how many years straight? They said 54 years straight? This last year they sold out every game. Okay, they already know what this team means to this town. I think that they're going to embrace that, and I think we're going to be delightfully surprised when everything finally gets done.
As long as they don't call it Walmart Stadium, as long as they don't go across that's a line. That's a line. As long as they're not like Mile High at Walmart Stadium, or it's like, no, we just don't do that, right? And I don't think they will.
Deal. They're going to get a huge naming deal. As a matter of fact, I'm curious, what that deal with Empower looks like. Was that a 10-year contract for them?
It might have gone through the end of the current lease.
I'm curious
that up, but it would make sense to just end it with the current lease. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
6 years, I will say this, just knowing what the area looks like now, 6 years is an ambitious timeline. I'm interested to see if they get that done. We'll see.
Yeah, that is. Yep. I thought about that too. 2031 seems pretty rushed, considering that they really haven't purchased all of that land, and it's not official.
And you've got to build new roads, infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. If you're going to build all these new businesses there, you're going to have to do new construction, tear a lot of stuff down.
That light rail is still that light rail runs right. That 10th and Osage station is right there.
That's true. Yeah, they've got that going for them at least.
I love it. Roy says it'll be new real grass in the new stadium, more than likely, since that's what we're doing here, and the health benefits are just much better for grass fields versus the artificial turf. Mike says hopefully it won't be cashless like Allegiant Stadium here in Vegas. Hopefully not, but you never know when they're just
wave of the future.
They just go they're like technology and everything's technology, right? So we'll have to wait and see. So it's going to be an interesting 6 years as we go down this path, and all the while the Broncos are on a upward swing themselves, guys. So with that being said, it is halftime here at the show. So before we officially move over to week 2, Broncos versus the Colts, get a couple things out of the way. First off, guys, Broncos and Bourbon.com. That is the home for Bourbon, Broncos, and No B.S. Head on over there, sign up today for free. A couple things with that. If you sign up this season, when we introduce membership tiers next year, everybody who signs up will be getting an automatic free upgrade to that very first membership tier. So this is the year to get in on it as we work on building that out. But you can find all of our latest videos, latest live shows, latest shorts, latest podcasts, articles, a whole fan section where there's a game day chat available, and some other things we're working on building out. But that's the place to go, guys. And now there's also one other little giveaway that we're working on with that. Nobody yet has found the Easter egg hidden within the website. And whoever finds the Easter egg first and messages us either through the website or on Facebook or whatever, saying you found it and saying where it is, that person's going to get a free lifetime top tier membership deal where you will never have to pay $1 to the website in your life, especially, 10, 15 years from now when we're like the #1 Broncos podcast and we're making like $500,000 a month. And you're never going to have to pay. So make sure you head over to the website. Go ahead and search for that Easter egg. The hint that I've given away so far that I'll repeat again for everybody is that new users are more likely to find the Easter egg than existing users. So take that as you will and good luck. But Nobody has found it yet. This show live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Bourbon Broncos No BS. Also, make sure you're following us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher for all of the podcasts, to include the pregame podcast comes out at the end of the week. Game day, we got a ton of stuff as well. 1 hour before kickoff, live with the halftime or for the tailgate talk show, breaking down all the last minute action, the inactives list, and other last minute news before the game starts. And then, of course, we are live at every halftime for the Broncos games, breaking down the first half and getting some instant reactions from you guys, and to see what the Broncos need to do to secure a win going into the second half there. So make sure you join us for all those shows. And then lastly, Monday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time on Mondays, we have our post-game podcast live show. Make sure you tune in for that and join the conversation as we either celebrate victory or swallow, wash our tears down with some bourbon or whatnot. So I think this year, a lot more victory than anything else coming that way. So should be fun shows, guys. Okay. With that all being said, guys, it is time to officially transition over to week 2. And of course, week 2 does not start until we say so here at Bourbon Broncos and No BS. So week 1 is behind us. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were talked about, all that good stuff. But we are now focused on the Colts, who, like I said before, are feeling very proud of themselves. And I think they're ready to christen their quarterback out there. Daniels, right?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Brain fart. Daniel Jones. They're ready to christen him the next just amazing quarterback. I think they've just been so desperate for so long that they're just like, yeah, of course we're going to say that he's amazing, even though we know that week 1 was probably more than a fluke than anything. But what do you think, guys? Let's start it down. What are some of your instant thoughts or initial thoughts when it comes to this upcoming matchup? David, we can start with you, bud.
I do not believe it. Daniel Jones, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. No. Forget it. I'm not doing it with Daniel Jones. I don't care that you beat the Miami Dolphins in week 1. I don't care that you had this many touchdowns and this many interceptions and this many yards. Pass. All right. Here come the Denver Broncos.
I love it. Spotty. Can you beat that?
I'll give you a little more about it. How I feel about it. Okay. So if you read the stats for the game, there's nothing that sets you, which blows you away, that you're like, this was definitely a game that was a blowout until the third quarter, right? I'm talking about Daniel Jones and the Colts offensive numbers, okay? They still were, 3.9 yards a carry? Yeah, like that's good, but, most of that's Daniel Jones. Like that averages up because of him and some of his rushing. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in that game. There's going to be somebody in his ear a lot. And when it comes to the Dolphins defense, I could name one person on that defense and be like, yeah, that guy, he's really good at football. And it's Minkah Fitzpatrick. And he got traded back to the Dolphins. He's been traded 3 times already. Basically. So
trying to get out of there.
I'm not saying that he's not as good, but when you're a safety on a defense that's terrible, you're not doing a whole lot. So I like David. I do not believe that this is the kind of showing that Daniel Jones is going to give this team on a regular basis. This is not a Sam Darnold. He's not he's not having a reawakening, which, by the way, Sam Darnold didn't even look that great when he played for the Seahawks. Okay. So, I don't believe this is what we should expect week by week. I actually kind of do believe that the Miami Dolphins are a lot worse than the Colts are good. So if you had to ask me what the difference maker was in that game, I'm gonna tell you it's that the Dolphins are probably going to be cleaning house by the end of the year.
Yeah, I love it. It's interesting to look at what they're saying online. ESPN. The matchup predictor is giving Indianapolis about a 51.5% chance to win. But looking at the pigskin pick'ems on ESPN, fans are looking at, Broncos being favored 72% to 28%. So huge, kind of just see where the needle's pointing, right? Where are the fans thinking this is going to go? And so when you see all these talking heads, praising the Colts, but bashing the Broncos, I think fans are looking at this and saying, yeah, but this defense is for real. And if Jones doesn't think that he's not going to be lying on his face, and have somebody in his face, for the vast majority of the game, he's well mistaken. So I think, you bring the pressure, you play smart, and you rattle them. because I don't think he got rattled really at all in this first week. So you get back there and force him to make those mistakes. And once that starts, I don't know if you can, he can get himself out of that mental hole.
No. Tune him up and turn him into Will Levis.
I
will. Yeah.
That's right. You're going to tell me you're going to go from Dable to Steichen and all of a sudden your whole career changed. It's not like people are like Steichen, the quarterback whisperer. Well, Steichen was the quarterback whisperer. Anthony Richardson would still be the starting quarterback for the Colts.
Yeah. I like this from Richie. Danny Dimes will leave penniless. I do love it. And I do think, one thing that we haven't talked about in terms of a secret weapon that the Broncos have over the Colts is Mitch Fabroni. I mean, when you look at this, look, Sean's here. I got to give him something.
I guess. Thanks for coming to the show, Sean.
Hey, do the Colts have a Pro Bowl long snapper? Or all team or all American, whatever it is.
I couldn't possibly answer that, Kevin. Yeah. I couldn't possibly answer that, and I won't. I don't understand the question, and I won't respond to it.
I like this, Michael. Bet they don't try that double pass play again.
Yeah, go right ahead. I think Benito would love that.
Yeah. Put the ball in A.D. Mitchell's hands and let him throw it. See what happens.
Yep, I dare you.
So I don't want to spoil the pregame podcast too much, guys, but let's get some previews. What are some things that you're looking at in terms of matchups or concerns that you're having for the Broncos there? Any number of things.
There's the one that always has an effect on the Denver Broncos, and that's a tight end. Okay.
Ooh.
Yep.
Of course, the tight end that every Denver Bronco fan out there wanted before, is Tyler Warren. And he was busy. He was busy in that game. I think when it came to targets, he had something like 8 or 9 targets. He was involved in the running game. It's almost like that they were trying to have him be like Taysom Hill out there. So as we know, the Broncos have a very bad history when it comes to dominant tight ends. And so I really hope that he's not the X factor when it comes to this game.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's also the Colts still have this guy, Jonathan Taylor, who is a really good running back. And without Drake Greenlaw, certainly without Malcolm Roach for a second week in a row, Jonathan Taylor ain't Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. He's a different animal. He's an elite running back when he's healthy, and so far there's no reason to think he's not healthy. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see if this Broncos run defense holds up and they earn the right to make Daniel Jones's day miserable, because I think they can do it, but they do have to earn it against this Indianapolis Colts offense.
And I don't expect him to drop the ball at the goal line.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, definitely not again.
Definitely not this year.
No. Yeah.
That's something that I think, any running back makes once, and then by the time they're so embarrassed and get chewed out and get the hate from the fan base, that they never do that again. I think even in that game, you saw like he ran it all the way through the back of the end zone, the next time. And you're just like, which I don't know why, every player just doesn't do that. But those little things we can't rely on the other team's mistakes bailing us out. And last week we really didn't have too many of those situations. I do point back to the last drive that the Broncos starting offense had in the last preseason game there, where, it was a touchdown drive, but you remember we got bailed out at near the beginning of that drive by a personal foul penalty. Otherwise, it would have been about time for us to punt again, and we were way backed up. So the fact, Broncos looked like they were able to get things going their own, and some things like the defense pushing the Titans out of field goal range, after that Marvin Mims muffed punt, things like that are just really good to see. The team can handle business. But I think at the end of the day, if they can get the pressure to the quarterback, get him back to Daniel Jones, that's just going to throw him off, and the mistakes are going to be made, and it's just going to make it so much of an easier day for the Broncos and give the offense a lot more better chance too. So overall, who do you think we're going to be using to cover the tight end there? I mean, is this going to be more of a Jahdae Barron kind of task, or who are you looking for to do that?
I mean,
it's a good question. I think it's going to be a mix of a little bit of everything. Even when we play the Raiders, PS2 has covered Brock Bowers. So it's going to depend on the package. Shoot, for all we know, because the way that Vance Joseph likes to do things, maybe he backs freaking Benito out and has him in coverage, kind of like he did against David Njoku against the Cleveland Browns. I think the most classic political answer is it's a team. It's going to be a team thing. It's going to be it's going to be a team assignment on Tyler Warren.
I mean, and I'm just at least there are matchups in this Broncos secondary where it's like, all right, I'm okay if it's Brandon Jones. I'm okay if it's Talanoa Hufanga. I'm okay if it's Jahdae Barron until they prove to me they can't do it. Like, if they can't do it, that's another question. But at least sending Tyler Warren out there and just kind of saying, well, whoever ends up covering him, I trust him to win that assignment until they show they can't do it. I'm okay with that for now.
Yeah. That's
Put
fair.
Michael's comment back up there again.
Yep.
And this is just another comment I was going to make. I'm actually happy that the Colts smashed the Dolphins, because that really does mean that we're not going to take them lightly. The Dolphins are still an NFL team. They still pay their players. They've got high-paid players. They've got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. They shouldn't be a slouch on paper. And if the Colts would have maybe tripped up against the Dolphins in that game, we might have taken them a little lightly. But we saw a team that scored on 7 NFL possessions. The fact that no other team has even done that. I mean, Peyton Manning didn't even do that when he was a Colt. Okay, so if you see that, the team is not going to come in and they're going to say, "Oh, it's Daniel Jones." There's like maybe their defense put a stop to the Dolphins. Right? I can't say that I watched the full game and know exactly how they did that, but I think what the Titans were doing to the Broncos is what we're going to see the Colts do it. And what the Colts were doing was keeping Bo in the pocket, sending a couple extra guys, and then sitting in light zone coverage, so that when he did try to check down or try to get those guys to come back to the ball, that's when they were picking them off, because he wasn't paying attention to those guys that were sitting in the shallow depth. So I do not see the Colts. They're going to see exactly what the Titans did, and the Colts are going to see if they can mirror that.
Yeah, I like that. Good question here, talking about matchups and stuff. So, the question isn't just Taylor. Bigger question is, how do the Colts line stack up against our D line? Just matchup wise. So what are you guys seeing from there? I mean, what I saw last week, our D line was just dominating, right? And you're talking about players coming off the bench, making impacts, like Jonah Ellis and stuff like that. 6 different players got sacks. So it wasn't like all the sacks came from one player. That's obviously this was coming from every direction. So, our D line and all the pass rush we have looked like they were doing incredibly well last week. But what are you guys seeing for this matchup?
Well, I was encouraged by the fact that they really weren't afraid at any point to rotate the D-line and to put Jordan Jackson in there and to put Dondrea Tillman in there and Jonah Ellis in there at edge. And so, I think they have a lot of confidence in their reserves, and having that makes it so much easier to keep guys like Zach Allen and Jonathan Franklin Myers a little bit fresher. They talked about wanting to keep Zach Allen on a little bit more of a snap count than they had him on last year, just because of the kind of player that he is. Having him as an every down player isn't probably the best way to deploy that resource. So I just generally, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about it on this pregame podcast, but I'm not terribly concerned about that matchup as far as the Denver defense goes.
They do have one of the best guards in the game. They do have one of the best guards in the game when it comes to Quentin Nelson. Unfortunately, Quentin Nelson is not 5 players on the offensive line. And until we just kind of like how David said, until we kind of look into the numbers of the rest of the players on there, I also do believe that Pro Football Focus is going to have some inflated numbers when it comes to their offensive line after this week. But I still don't believe these are more about replacement players than they are guys where we're like, hey, this is the next highest paid guard or tackle in the league. So Dan Moore, who was the left tackle for the Titans, was brought in to be a high-paid left tackle for a future budding quarterback, and he had a very tough day. And I believe that both the left and the right tackles for the Colts is going to have a much tougher day than I'm going to guess the best pass rusher for the Dolphins is Nick Chubb, and I'm not even sure if he's playing. They played the last week, so I do believe that we stack up well in depth. Like, I mean, the fact we kept 7 guys on the defensive line, we kept 4 linebackers, we kept a lot of really good edge rushers. It's hard when you got this platoon kind of defensive line style to keep your offensive line guys fresh and willing to go against a different type of player after play after play after play.
Yeah. And that's there's one player on the Colts defense that I want to highlight a little bit, and that's 𝐁𝐿, who had a really, really good week 1 against and the Dolphins have at least one really talented tackle in Patrick Paul. I didn't watch that game. I don't know how the particulars of it played out, but I do know that 𝐁𝐿 graded out really well, and the Colts, while they had Jeffrey Simmons, certainly don't have an edge. I'm sorry, the Titans have Jeffrey Simmons, but they don't have an edge rusher on the scale of 𝐁𝐿, so that could be a real challenge for the offensive line this week that they didn't face against the Titans.
For sure. Let's see. What do we think about? Let me answer this first from Jose. If you guys didn't see, we did sign Deuce Vaughn to the practice squad. Not expecting to see him play. He's a practice squad player. So between R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, and Tyler Bidet, those are the main 3 that we're going to be utilizing. McLaughlin too. So and McLaughlin's is on the team. He's not inactive or anything. So 4 running backs on the active roster. He's more of a depth piece, and try him out, see how he does. So I think that he is. I mean, that's just a heads up to both McLaughlin and Bidet. Bidet did not have a terribly inspired performance against the Titans on Sunday, and I think that's just a heads up to them that it's like, guys, your positions on this roster are not guaranteed. Your positions with this franchise are not guaranteed. Let's go. Like, we need you to contribute, and if you can't, somebody's here. So
yeah, dude.
We can't wait till the 4th quarter.
Yeah. And Deuce Vaughn, he's just a little guy.
He's a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
He is a Kevin-sized man.
I was going to say, is he taller or shorter than Adam? But if we're going to go off of me, everybody in the NFL is taller than me. So.
If he was on this podcast, he actually might be the shortest person. I'm pretty sure he's at like 5'4".
Okay, so I'm taller, yes. Not by much, by about 4 inches. I'll go with that.
Part of the lollipop guild.
The lollipop guild. I love it. Let's see. Riley Moss. Thoughts from what we saw? I mean, obviously he was the one getting picked on the most because you just, even as a rookie or a pro, whatever it is, you throw away from where Pat Surtain is. So that just means Riley Moss is going to get picked on, and I think he knows that that's his role. But from week 1 there, guys, I mean, what did you see?
The pressure was on Cam Ward so often that it's really hard to get an idea of what it looks like for a cornerback. And I think it's going to be something similar next week. So, you can look at it. Who had the most yards for them? This was it Calvin Ridley? So they had like 20 yards for like 2 different guys, and I'm not sure if anybody had more than that. So it's really hard to get a quick judge out of it. The Colts do have more weapons, though. I understand what Cam Ward said, that he thought he had the best wide receiver room in the NFL. Quite the hyperbole on that. The wide receiver room for the Colts in Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and Alec Pierce, and of course, if you add in Tyler Warren, is a lot better. So I think it's a good start for Riley, and it's a good start for McMillan and Zade, but this next week is going to be the first true test.
I like it.
Yeah, I think you're going to see them deploy all their resources for sure.
For sure, guys. For sure. Well, look, we're going to pause the conversation there to give you guys plenty to talk about on the pregame podcast, and we'll do some closing thoughts here in a minute. So before we do, guys, remember a couple things. First off, head on over to the website, broncosandbourbon.com. Sign up for free today and look for that Easter egg that is still hidden. Again, the hint that I've given everyone is new users are more likely to find the Easter egg than existing users. So good luck with that. Still looking for the one winner, and good luck to all you guys on it. Look, make sure you follow us for all of our other shows for the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podchaser, wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there. So make sure you look us up and follow and subscribe. And then game day this next week's no exception. 1 hour before kickoff, we'll be live with Tailgate Talk Show and live at halftime with the halftime hash show as well. And then we'll see you on Monday night at 8 p.m. for the post-game podcast live as well. Broncos are taking on the Colts. Going to be a challenge, but I think looking at this, if the offense can clean up some of those mistakes, limit the turnovers, this is a good game matchup for the Broncos, and really kind of test them and get them ready for the Week 3 matchup. Try not to look too far ahead to that. It's such a big game early on in the season. And a lot of the narrative is going to be based off of, how the AFC West is going to go based off how the game goes there. So this next week, the Broncos need to go out there, play well on the road and handle business, shut the home team or home crowd up by just destroying the Colts offense, making them wonder what they're doing out there, and come away with the win. So I think it's very doable. But it goes back to those mistakes. We can't have those turnovers, right? Bo Nix has to be a little bit more calm and poised in the pocket, set his feet better. And we have to get a run game going before the fourth quarter. So for me, those are some of my big three closing thoughts, guys. It's all very doable things. We're not asking for a lot to clean up between weeks 1 and 2 there. But as long as there's some improvement, I'm feeling good about it. And I'm looking forward to coming away 2-0. But Spotty, man, let's move over to you, man. What closing thoughts do you have?
Yeah. Kind of touch on the same thing that you said. Also kind of touch on a little bit of my soapbox from the beginning of this podcast and saying that, Sean, please run the football. Take a look at the stats. If there was a thing that the Dolphins did well against the Colts, was the fact that they averaged 6.5 yards a carry against the Colts defense. 6.5 yards a carry. Devon Achane only ran the ball 7 times, and the guy had 55 yards rushing. We have players that can do this, and you set up the rest of the offense by going by running the football. You can do all the play action, you can do all the RPOs that you want if you establish the run. And if there was the time to do it, this week is the time to do it.
I like it. Team Puffball captain, Mr. David, sir, president and CEO of Team Puffball and all the good things. Chris made it just in time to hear your closing thoughts. I think he was like, I'm just going to wait for David's closing thoughts. That's all I care about. So pressure's on you, man.
Gary earlier said something to the effect of that not everybody is on Team Puffball, and that's just not true. Everybody is on Team Puffball. Everybody's on Team Puffball. Everybody's on Team Puffball. So, yeah, guys, I am completely uninterested in any narratives about how the Broncos look offensively, about how this, that, and the other thing looks bad, about how they're going to disappoint this year because of how they played against the Titans. I'm just not here for it. Let's go, put away the fact that we won in week 1. Let's look forward to week 2 against another tough team that should present a really good opportunity for them to improve on things that we know they need to improve on. It's not a secret to them either. And let's look forward to it. Let's look forward to the fact that we have football back, and we still have a ton of stuff to be excited about this Broncos team that could go really, really deep this season if they correct the things that they need to figure out from week 1. So yeah, guys, I'm super excited. No closing thoughts required other than that. Let's go. Chiefs are at the bottom of the totem pole, and I don't care how long it lasts. It is fantastic to see as it's happening. Broncos are looking good, and just this defense, it just goes back to how scary this is, and the number of plays we're going to see from this defense is fantastic, as Christopher is saying. Yeah, look, defense definitely is a huge part for why you win games, and this is no exception. Ken says week 2 is often the exact opposite of week 1. Then week 3, things level out. So let's see.
let's see how this plays out, guys. But football's here, like David's saying, and it's going to be fun talking about it all with you guys throughout the entire season here. Our 10th season, so watch out. We got some prizes coming your way, probably as soon as next week. We might be doing our first giveaway for our 10th anniversary celebration. And we're on the countdown, guys. Broncos are 9 wins away from us giving away 3 Bo Nix jerseys to 3 different fans here at Bourbon Broncos and No B.S. So 9 more wins. When they hit the 10-win total, there you go. We're going to be giving away 3 Bo Nix jerseys. So get ready for it. It might be coming sooner than you think. That being said, guys, David, Spotty, you guys are fantastic as always. It's always a great time having you on. But it is time to end this show, and I got nothing left to say other than, as we always do, on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.